Good evening and thanks for having us in. Coming up on this week's Inside KELOLAND, we're helping you protect your personal information. We'll preview the upcoming Shred It event with the Better Business Bureau and Sioux Empire Crime Stoppers. Plus, in a few days, Sioux Falls will honor the women who are excelling as sales and marketing executives. We'll preview the upcoming SME Women in Business event. Well, first tonight, some parks and parts of the bike trails around Sioux Falls that had been closed after last month's flooding are reopening. And we are also looking at Spencer Dog Park. KELOLAND's Max Hofer shows us how dog owners are still able to enjoy the outdoors even without some of the popular parks.
Right now the park is still closed to the public. We've been waiting for the water to subside a little bit.
Spencer Park may be closed, but dog owners have found a couple of other spots that they find particularly fetching. Some parks like Lean Park and Family Park are two other spots that have shed some light on the situation.
I'm actually closer to Spencer, but since it's, flooded and really muddy, this is the one I come to. I like it because it's, up away from water, so it's not going to be, flooded by the river.
But the effects are still felt as mud and water have left them in bad shape.
Unfortunately, the turf conditions probably aren't going to be the greatest due to the fact that that turf has been underwater now for about 4 weeks. So that may be a concern to some people. The ground may be muddy for a while yet until we dry out a little bit.
As long as you're willing to, bring some towels or something to wipe them off before you put them back in your vehicle, I think it'll be all good.
Carlson doesn't know exactly when Spencer will be reopened, but he says you can count on it being right around summertime.
Right now we're just waiting to be able to get into the dog parks to clean those up and reopen those to the public once again.
Also reopening up the fun for dogs and their owners.
I just like the joy it brings them, and then it brings me joy because they're happy and a little bit tired out, and then they can take a nap and just chill for a while.
Oh, they look like they're having fun. Joining us now is Kelby Maris, the Park Operations Manager for Sioux Falls. Thanks for being on with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Max had a look at what some of the people had to deal with and some of the park conditions, but you, the department, made an announcement last week about the status of the park. So can you share that in case people missed it?
Sure. All of the parks are now open. Mm-hmm. Portions of the parks, though, are still inundated with floodwaters, which we typically see in springtime. And so some barricades are still up, so we just ask that people respect those barricades and stay away from the floodwaters that are still there.
Yeah, I imagine people are pretty excited to get into them, so a good safety reminder is key, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So when you were looking at the damage, how much did you come across after that big flooding event?
Well, we sustained damage from Legacy Park all the way down Skunk Creek and we're to the confluence of the Big Sioux. And then all the way through Yankton Trail Park, all the way down to Falls Park. So every park along that stretch of the river did see some damage, of course. We did lose a bike trail bridge at Dunham Park. We lost a pedestrian bridge at Sertoma Park. We've got some shelters at Legacy Park that have been significantly damaged. So we did see some significant damage through the park system.
And it looks like we're looking at the bike trails now and some of those barricades that were up. Did people cooperate pretty well with this?
Yeah, pretty well. There are some people that do ignore the barricades and go around them, but the barricades are there for their safety. The conditions that they're going to find beyond the barricades are not what they're used to in a typical park setting, and that's why the barricades are there to keep them a safe distance away from that.
Did you have a big problem with people ignoring them? I think we saw a few people go through them on the video.
Oh, I wouldn't call it a big problem,
okay.
But we did have some people that didn't heed the warnings.
Mm-hmm. Well, and getting back to the damage, you mentioned some of the bridges, and I know that those are expensive. Do you have a ballpark estimate at how much money you're looking at in terms of cost?
Well, we're in the hundreds of thousands. Of course, those bike trail bridges are about $300,000 a piece. So.
Wow.
But we're still putting together that damage estimate and hope to have it completed here shortly.
And then there's also an announcement I believe Mayor Paul Tenhaken has made about the bike trails. Can you give us a reminder of that?
Sure. We're going to be reconstructing a portion of the bike trail from through Beetle Greenway down to the Cherry Rock Bridge. Mm-hmm. That's all on the west side of the Big Sioux River, and it's what we've typically been doing with our bike trail reconstructions, widening it, increasing sight lines, and getting a much better surface for the trail users.
And one thing that we're also going to be looking at, it was a big issue last year, the emerald ash borer. So are people still Do they have reason to worry about that, and what's the city doing to keep that at bay?
Yeah, the emerald ash borer, by all indications, has survived the winter. We are still moving through our response plan. We've removed, through city forces and through contractors, have removed more than 700 trees since last fall. We will be continuing to remove trees up until Memorial Day. And in between Memorial Day and Labor Day, there's no cutting or transporting of ash wood within Sioux Falls. And then we'll pick up again after Labor Day.
Yeah, I know a lot of people had been asking us if the ash borer survived the winter, and they're pretty stubborn.
Yeah, they're pretty stubborn. They survive in much colder climates than we have. Yeah, we did have a really good cold snap that did have some mortality to the emerald ash borer, but not enough for us to change our response plan.
And in case homeowners forgot, are there any bullet points or advice that you can give them to start preparing for that season?
Sure. Again, no cutting or transporting of ash wood between Memorial Day and Labor Day. If they do want to have their trees treated for the emerald ash borer, they need to contact a licensed arborist and have that done. Or they also need to start planning for the removal of trees that they're not going to treat, especially if it's a tree in their backyard that would be more difficult to get to. Those trees can be expensive to remove.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit of preventative maintenance can go a long way when it comes to that.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. One quick thing before we wrap up, what are you most looking forward to for park season?
I'm really looking forward to getting out and enjoying some warmer weather and getting some color back in the parks.
Yes.
Some things to green up, and leaves back on trees and flowers blooming, and the people that maintain our parks do an outstanding job, and can't wait to get out and see the fruits of their labor.
Yeah, well, very nice. So thanks for being on with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, coming up next, we're helping you get rid of personal documents without compromising your information. Find out about the upcoming Shred event after the break. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. As you start spring cleaning, you may come across some personal documents you no longer need. So how do you get rid of them safely? Jesse Schmidt with the Better Business Bureau joins us now with that answer. Thanks for being on with us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this event that we're talking about, it always reminds me of when I was a kid because we had a personal shredder. And I thought it was so much fun to put paper in there and shred. So I was helping my family keep their personal documents safe.
You were, but now that you're not there, Brady, so what do you do if all your kids have moved away?
Exactly, yeah. So this is where this event comes in. So tell us about that.
Yes, so the Better Business Bureau has been partnering with Crime Stoppers for many years to hold this annual event. And typically we hold it the Friday after Tax Day, which would have been yesterday, but that was Easter Saturday. So now we're on to the 27th. So it'll be Saturday, April 27th from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And we have 3 locations across Sioux Falls. So the west side location is at 57th and Louise at Midwest Bank parking lot. And then our downtown location where our Kelo volunteers help us out is at 13th and Main and the top of that pavilion parking ramp. And then on the east side of town, you just go to Washington High School from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock.
Very easy and user-friendly, this event. And so can you tell us what types of things, documents should people bring?
Sure. So we would say bring your old tax returns, anything 7 years or older. Credit card offers that you've gotten in the mail, old bank statements, checks from accounts that you no longer have, old credit card statements. Anything that has any information that might be able to compromise your identity in some way. And the great thing is that you can just put it all in a box or a bag. You don't have to remove the staples or the paper clips or anything like that. Just bring it all down there, and it's a drive-through service. So you drive up and we'll take it right out of your car.
So this is like for the people who are like me, who if you get statements, junk mail, those credit card offers, and sometimes I let them pile up.
Oh, yes.
And you can just get rid of them.
Absolutely.
Declutter.
I mean, I've just had people tell me today, you know what, I just have a box by my trash in my office and I just put all that stuff in there all year, and that's exactly what we're here for. We have 2 great partners that help us with this, Dakota Data Shred and then Good Shred, which is a division of Goodwill Industries. And they are nationally certified organizations in document maintenance and document elimination. So they have certified national organizations, and this stuff, you know, as you can see here, it turns really into pulp, and it's going to be your paper plates and your greeting cards.
Yeah, what better way to, you know, help people celebrate than get rid of your old stuff?
Exactly, exactly.
You know, so for people who might be confused about what should I keep and what should I get rid of, what advice do you have for them?
Well, I would tell you, be specific. Go out onto the internet and see, you know, just Google a particular document. But for the most part, if things are 7 years old or older, you can shred it. The things that you would not want to shred are retirement account information, ownership of those accounts, that sort of thing. Certainly if you've satisfied your mortgage, you know how they talk about burning your mortgage. No, you never want to do that. Once you've satisfied that, those are papers that you hold on to for a lifetime. But credit card statements, once they're a few months old, you can get rid of those. Utility bills, all those just unnecessary things that you have lying around that somebody could open a credit card with your name and information on it.
Do you find, I know a lot of people are concerned with their cybersecurity and leaving any type of trail online. Do you find that with that focus, do people kind of forget about the actual documents and how they should keep themselves safe in terms of that?
Oh, I think, right, because there is just so much to think about, we oftentimes forget about this.
Yeah.
And we know that this sort of identity theft is very small in nature, but the reality is it still happens, right? So just take a few minutes and really do yourself a big favor, and then you don't need to worry about it. It's not in your recyclable trash. It's not having to go through your shredding machine. Just take it out to us, and we're happy to take care of it for you.
And then one last thing before we go, I mean, is this just one little thing people can do so they can save themselves the hassle of losing money, losing their information and all that?
And I would say relieve some anxiety as well. You know, we're constantly having to be on guard about how to protect your identity. Why do anything that would compromise that situation for you? So just keep all those documents together and get them out to us, and we're happy to dispose of them.
All right, and in case you missed it, we do have the information about the location. So it's Saturday, April 27th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The 3 locations are Midwest Bank, Washington High School, Pavilion Parking Lot, and Ramp. All right, thank you again for being on with us.
Thank you.
We'll see you all at the Shredded event. Still to come on Inside KELOLAND, we're previewing the upcoming Women in Business event coming up next. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. In just a few short days, Sioux Falls will honor the women who are making their mark in business. Joining us now is Mickey Lundeen, the chair of the 2019 SME Women in Business event. This sounds like a really cool event. Thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so tell us about this event on Tuesday. What can people expect?
Absolutely. So our Women in Business event is to celebrate all the women in the workforce. Obviously, when it started out, almost 40 years ago, we were celebrating women for a different reason. It was very much a man's working world, you know, back then. But now we're really celebrating and lifting each other up.
Yeah.
And it's just a blast to see a room of, well, we've already sold over 900 tickets. So it'll be a room of probably nearly 1,000 people celebrating each other, and it's so much fun. But the day, it starts at noon, so from 12 to 5, we have a trade fair. So we've got about 85 different vendor booths set up for you to come and shop and learn from and visit with one another. There's time for a cocktail or a beverage of your choice in the afternoon as well. We have a terrific breakout speaker, Mike Oster. Mike has been with us before a few years ago, but he will talk about it's all about attitude.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great message for everyone to hear,
Yeah,
whether you're
exactly.
male or female. So you men can come too. We would love to have you. And then our dinner portion of the day starts at 6 o'clock. Our keynote speaker, so excited, Taya Kyle. Taya is the wife of American Sniper Chris Kyle.
Yeah, people probably remember that movie and read
I would
about
think
him.
so, yep. And Taya just had a book come out as well, and I know she will be selling her books that night. So if you're interested in getting a signed copy, I know she is willing to do autographs as well.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind for our viewers,
and then during dinner, we before Taya speaks, we do have 5 categories of awards to celebrate some fantastic women who've been nominated.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a great event. To circle back on some of the points you just made, I really like what you said about you know, lifting each other up, lifting women up. Why is that still important to recognize women in business?
you know, for women and men both. And I don't want to single out just women, but this is our Women in Business event, so I will talk about us females. It's important to do that all day, every day. I think that it's vitally important with the busy society that we all live and work in and play in, that we continue to lift each other up. We all get better with competition. We all get better by helping each other succeed, celebrating each other's successes. So I think to continue to make our world and our community and our personal lives better, I think it's really important to keep doing this.
I tried to, so my mom is a longtime business owner. She has owned her own business for 40 plus years, I think. And I tried to remember that she is more than just my mom. She is a business owner and she has worked really hard. And I think that's to your point. It is important to recognize these women who have worked hard to help our area in business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, in the categories, we've got excellence in marketing, excellence in sales. Obviously, this is a sales and marketing execs event, so those two make sense, but it's entrepreneurial excellence. So people like your mom who have the bravery and the guts to go after it on their own. We have supporting excellence, because certainly not everybody plays a lead role. Sometimes there's those supporting roles as well. Those women are just as important as everyone else. And then excellence through the decades. So women who are probably in the later stages of their career, just celebrating their successes as well.
Well, I have about a minute left. I have two more questions. So
Perfect.
quickly, who was a woman that inspired you to get into your career field?
Oh my goodness. Well,
No pressure.
No pressure at all. I'm a bit of an anomaly because I spent the first half of my career in banking and finance, and now I'm in healthcare PR. So totally different.
Yeah.
There was no rhyme or reason to my career path, but someone who inspired me was. Oh, I'm just going to pick one out of. There's so many.
It takes a village.
It does take a village. Darla Van Rosendale, who is the CEO at Dalrymple Village. She unknowingly mentored me along the way. I served on her board of directors, and it was just really fun to see a woman in such a high capacity role, juggling lots of balls, wearing lots of hats. So
Very nice. And in my last question, if people still want to go to this event, how can they get there?
Absolutely. We do still have room for folks. So I know it's getting really close. The event's in just a couple of days.
Write that down, everyone.
Yep, SMESiouxFalls.org. Tickets can be ordered right online, and we would love to see lots and lots more people come.
Well, very good.
Including you, sir.
Well, we'll see. I might just show up.
I think you should.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brady. Appreciate it.
Well, coming up in our final segment of Inside KELOLAND, we're giving you a sneak peek at our upcoming Spring Doppler special. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. You know what? It's finally springtime across the country. We deserve this. Well, that means it's time for our Spring Doppler special. Meteorologist Grant Smith joins us with a preview of tomorrow's show. So do you have spoilers for us?
I'll try not to spoil too many things. I think the big thing people are going to want to be interested in is Scott Munt's forecast for the summer. So I'll try not to give away too much of that. But yeah, we got a lot of good things going on. We talk about the toys that we have in the Storm Center. We're talking about our radars, the Storm Tracker app, giving you some tips when it comes to that.
That thing's very handy.
It is pretty handy, and it kind of gives you a little bit of taste of the Storm Center if you're not, close to a TV during severe weather or something like that. We also talk about the flooding. That's kind of a big thing this spring.
Yeah, we had a lot of snow this year. We had a lot of flooding. It's been a very wet season.
Yeah, we talk about this season. We talk about past seasons, 1960s, early 1900s. Even Brian Carson's goes back to the 1880s.
Okay. Oh, that's kind of a treat.
Yes, it should be fun. He goes back that far. We also talk about how to prepare your lawns and gardens to go from summertime to from winter to summertime. So that's kind of a little treat there. Brian kind of focuses in on gardening, and I kind of focus on landscaping and things like that. Jay.
There are a lot of
There's so
meteorologists
many
to
of
keep
us.
track of. We have a whole army of them.
Yeah, it does. He on one of his trips, he actually got to speak with some meteorologists that deal with fire weather.
Okay.
He talks about how weather and meteorology can focus on fire behavior, things like that. And about that landscaping story. This all came around because a little under 2 years ago, my wife and I bought a house.
Oh, wow.
And all the responsibility that comes with having a house. And I have a little bit of experience in that, shoveling snow and mowing the lawn. But it was the landscaping thing that kind of scared me a little bit. So I was able to talk with some folks at Cliff Avenue Greenhouse to figure out how to transition the yard from summer to winter time.
First of all, you may not think it, but all the snow we had this year was a good thing. It protected the dormant plants from the cold air.
With the snow cover, it's given the, a lot of the perennials and the shorter shrubs and stuff a good insulation cover.
I had the opportunity to talk with Heath Ziegler, store manager and co-owner of Cliff Avenue Greenhouse and Garden Center, about what goes into transitioning the yard from winter to summer.
With snow as we've had on the grass and stuff, a lot of it's going to be real compacted down and underneath all that snow. So I think the best thing is once it does dry a little bit, go ahead and go out there and rake up some of those real bad spots that are real packed down.
But you should make sure it all dries up, or you'll end up tearing it up and making it worse than it already is, and that really doesn't sound good. Now, some of your plants may have served as a buffet table for rabbits and other animals during the winter.
They are hungry. They're going to go out there and find whatever they can to eat as well.
And if your plants have been eaten a little bit, it's okay. Ziegler says that can actually encourage growth from the bottom of the bushes. It's the trees that you may need to watch out for.
But what you want to watch out for is if they start girdling around the tree trunk itself. Once it gets all the way around the tree trunk, chances are it may not survive.
And if your tree has this kind of damage, don't chop it down just yet. Wait a bit and see if it shows signs of stress.
What I would probably honestly do is just wait until it does leaf out and does start seeing signs of real stress, and it does start going downhill from there. A lot of these trees and shrubs are real resistant to things and do have a great survival rate.
The next thing to consider is your own planting ability. I know Brian and Scott are good at growing a garden, but so far I've only been good at eating their salsa.
A lot of the easier ones would be like varieties of spireas. Those pretty much grow just about anywhere. Daylilies are great.
As for garden plants, you can usually start those around Mother's Day. A lot of those items at Cliff Avenue Greenhouse are already used to the KELOLAND weather, so there's no need to prepare for them too much.
So there you have it. A lot of good information for those beginners like me to help their lawns and gardens go from winter to summertime.
Oh, okay.
I said wrong,
but well, I was worried. I thought, did I miss summer? Are we back to winter already? You never know.
It's super short. Summertime is super short here, so we're already going back. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, if you need any help landscaping, I'm sure Scott Munt would help you, so just give him a call.
I will certainly call him up.
Okay, thanks, Grant. Well, you can catch the Spring Doppler special tomorrow night at 6:30 right here on KELO TV. That's all the time we have for this week's Inside KELOLAND. You can find out more about today's topics online at KELOLAND.com. Join us every Sunday following the 10 o'clock news right here on KELO TV. Have a good night, everyone.